Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. We have 6 albums to go through, so let's go through the 6 albums. We begin with The Bug Club and their new album Very Human Features. This is a sort of indie rock band from Wales. This was a fun, quirky, weird bit of indie rock. I'm giving it a B+. I quite liked that it's silly in an authentic way, and the band really don't take it seriously. I will admit I couldn't really find stuff for themes or writing. I think there's just stuff about the nature of being human, I'm not sure. But it's more the casual delivery of the lyrics than the actual writing itself, which I think really sold it for me. The band themselves, of which there's only 2 members, there did used to be more, both really good as well. I like the production as well. It's really nicely layered and very thick, but without taking away any of the naturalness from the album. It actually adds quite a bit of it to the sound. I also quite like the structuring. I think there's a good sense of playfulness that adds a lot to the pacing and makes full use of its time, and the instrumentation is actually a lot of fun too, and there's some decent innovation in some places here and there. So yeah, overall, really fun album, a little bit weird, and you haven't seen the album cover because it just looks fucking odd, and I'm pretty sure I will be seeing it in my nightmares at some point, but yeah, still recommend give this a spin. Next we have Graham Hunt and his new album Timeless World Forever. I will admit I did think this was a debuting artist, but turns out this is his 5th go. I'm giving this one a B. I thought it was really fun and enjoyable. There's sort of a nice power pop element to things, which is the main genre, but but the rest have really good bounce to them, and I quite like the humour to the writing as well. There's a good theme which actually builds on a couple of previous albums with the theme of self-perception. But I am docking a couple of points because I didn't listen to those previous albums, so it's mostly a me thing. It's not on Graham's side at all. But it's still good on that front for what it is. My hair is such a mess, like always. I don't apologise. Production's pretty good too. I feel like it can overdo things, but it has some really good sound design, and I like that it occasionally thinks outside the box. And Graham's performance and his honesty really is quite nice. However, I do think the production sort of hurts his voice. It's not a problem with the instrumentation, which is pretty easy to hear, but it sort of buries his vocals a little bit, and it's odd because it was co-produced by him alongside someone named Shannon Connor, so I don't really know what was going on there. And the structure is pretty good too. I like the fun directions it takes, but sometimes there is a little bit of whiplash between songs, which I think disrupts the flow a tad, but it's just a sort of fun, breezy and charming power pop album, so if that's all you're there for, that's what you'll get. Next we have the oldest band here, and one of the best band names ever, Half Man Half Biscuit, with their new album All Asimov and No Fresh Air. And this is my first actual full taste of them, although I'd sort of heard of them because one of their songs was sort of the name for a progress chapter, which was a Dukla Prague Away kit, and I'm giving this one an A. For my first album by these guys, I was really impressed by it, mostly just because I was having a lot of fun. These guys have always played with a tongue-in-cheek sort of style, and the themes of, they've always had satirical humour on the societal themes and living in England, which works because they're from Wirral, so, a bit more understandable. But it's always the thing that they've always done, and the fact that they use it to tell weird stories is great. No bad performances either. The band are all really good too. I'm not going to single anyone out. I do think the lead singer does the best job though. The production is also quite fun. It adds good texturing to the sound and it really fits the scope quite nicely. I quite like an instrumentation as well. This is a sort of post-punk band with some good indie elements, but there's a lot of versatility with instrumentation that leans into more traditional punk rock and more posty elements that I think works quite well. I can't English good today. I can't English good on most days. But the instrumentation is really good. The guitar and bass specifically, or especially as I've written down, are also quite good. And structure is also quite solid. There's good experimentation and a really nice core sound to wrap it around. It's got a really good pace. It makes good use of its timing. It's just a fun and doesn't take itself seriously sort of album. We've had 3 of those in a row, haven't we? But yeah, I quite enjoyed this one more than I thought it would, and I thought it would sound a bit dated, but I did also get the feeling that this is sort of what the band always does, and if it is, I'm completely fine with it. Next we're staying in England for a little bit longer, but I think we head more south as we go to a band named Rat Hole and their debut album Proper Cunt Music. Yeah, I'm giving this one an A+. This was some really fucking good punk rock that reminds you of a simpler time of punk rock where it's a bit more comedic. Well, it's actually quite comedic. If I could sum this band up in a single sentence, it would be like Mac Lads but without the racism and slightly less misogyny. not by much though. There's a really fun sense of the songwriting. The instrumentation is really punchy and fast and hits you quite hard. The performances of the two band members, Johnny Sideways and Dr. Smackpot, God bless those names, are incredible. They just fucking lean into the brazen and brash and arrogant personality, which works well. They're snarling, especially Johnny Sideways, who does, like, I think he's the main vocalist, I'm not sure. And the band does have a bassist, but he's neither of the two members. I think he's like a touring member, I'm not fully sure. But production's got a really good raw and simple but effective feel to it as well. Quite like that. The lyrics are just fantastic too. There are songs about winking, drinking, winking, drinking, wanking, drinking, and fame, and just calling people cunts. That is the main word of this album, in case you can guess from the album title. There is also really good pacing, even though it's got 19 songs. Most of those are skits that actually lead into songs, and they're actually really fucking hilarious skits. Yeah, it just worked for me. Great instrumentation, really good sense of pacing. The band know what the fuck they're doing. Really good production, and funny fucking lyrics. It's a really funny album, and it really made me laugh quite a bit, especially the song All I Did, which is my favourite song from this album. Holy shit, the twist in that song genuinely caught me off guard, and I was laughing my ass off. So listen to that song specifically. It's the second to last song on the album, but just listen to the entire album. It'll be worth your time. Next we have our second and last debut of the video, a band named Signeri, from Sweden, with their self-titled debut album. And before you ask what that noise in the background is, it's a fan, because it's really fucking hot and I don't have a window open, so I can mitigate as much noise as possible. However, having said that, this might somehow be one of my favourite albums of the year so far. I was completely caught off guard by it. Yeah, 100% an A+ of an album. So it's a melodic black metal album, and I am so fucking happy it didn't just do what most black metal bands, especially melodic black metal ones, seem to do, because it uses a unique concept. Because the band are from where have I written it down? Dalarna, Sweden, which is a area of Sweden known for its forest lands, and they use it as like a concept to tell a story of like a summoning ritual, in a very unique way, to also explore themes of like grief and pain, and like the main theme of exploring one's inner darkness. And it's done incredibly fucking well. The instrumentation is top notch as well. The guitar work is great. I love the solos are amazing. The drums are really good, and the bass is good. You don't really hear good bass in black metal. The production is somehow heavy and clean at the same time, with a really nice depth that adds to the atmosphere, which permeates through the structuring, which adds so much. Speaking of which, by the way, which also leads to the instrumentation, there's elements of like thrash and death and a underlying sort of gothic poppy current, which actually helps to link the songs together to help with the concept. It's such a unique way to tell the story, not just through the lyrics, but also through the instrumentation. It's fucking fantastic build-up with an incredible payoff with the final track. Oh my god. And yeah, nothing bad to say about the performances. Everyone's brilliant. Lead singer's good. All the band members are just really fucking good on this one. I was quite surprised, because the first time I heard this I was like, it's just a fluke. There's no way that this is a... I didn't even think it was a debut until I looked more into it. I was quite surprised. And it might be my new favourite debut of the year. It's definitely worth a listen in my opinion, if you want just such a unique, dark story told in a really innovative way. I recommend giving this a go. I was not expecting to be as blown away by this as I was. Go listen to it. The words I'm saying can't do it, just like pause this, or wait until this video is finished, and then go listen to this one. It's really good. And to close off last week, we have a rapper named Token and his fourth album, I'm Not Supposed to Be Here. So, I'm giving this a B-, and I have very confused feelings about this. I will say, even from reviews I've seen of people who are actually fans of Token, this is my first Token album, I was sort of like, even I was a bit disappointed, because I feel like he could do better. Let's go for lyrics first, though. It's supposed to be like the main theme of going over imposter syndrome and anxiety and covering his issues with his family, which is good in theory and could be used to tell an interesting story. But it just feels like there's so many unnecessarily braggy songs for no reason. It's one of the few problems I had with Rand's album Sick Boy, which had a really good undercurrent of themes he usually deals with, but also had those braggy elements, but, you know, at least he has the charisma to pull both sides off. I don't think Token really has that, and that's kind of one of my main, like, issues. The performances are not terrible, but it is mostly the guest spots that do well. Speaking of Ren, he actually is a guest on one of the songs on this album, as is Tech Nine. Weird to have those two people collabing with Token on the same album. Not many songs apart either, which is also strange. But you know, Token's good, but I feel like he's going, as I write down here, it feels like he's in the early stage of his Eminemisms. He's only 26. He's going to be 27 in September, if memory serves. But I think he just needs to sort of like, I don't know. He needs to focus more on being like a dark storyteller, because that's where his strengths lie with this album. When he leans into that, he's really good. The problem is the structuring doesn't really make that consistent, and I think the production does make the mix feel subtle, but I wanted it to go harder than it does. I did enjoy the instrumentation. I thought the beats were quite good, and they often fit the Doctor and the album quite nicely, but it would have been nice if there was a bit more of like a mix with those. I wanted those to be, you know, like mixed up, variety, I think, and I think that's one of this album's main problems. It doesn't really have a lot of variety. But you know, kid's still young, and people have said this is not his strongest effort. I'm technically inclined to agree, but I did still quite enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed it when it played to his strengths. The problem is it doesn't do that all the time, so yeah, I'm ducking a few points for that, but I can't deny that I did still like elements of it, a lot more than most people seem to. Even though I gave it an admittedly mixed response, other people have been more mixed and some have been a bit more negative. I guess I am, yeah, I guess it's my optimism just keeping this from a C+, but like, I don't know, the structure was probably the worst thing about this album, but I did mostly like everything else, so I will get the pass for that. Next is favourite song and favourite album cover. I would say favourite song goes to Hills Painted Red from Signori self-titled debut, just a fantastic way to close out the album, and it ends on a fade out. Normally I would hate that, but for some reason it just really works here. Favourite cover goes to, admittedly, I'm not supposed to be here by Token. I actually quite like that you know, he's just this guy in all black and everyone else is wearing like colourful things and looking like they're enjoying themselves, and he's just like sort of not really the centre of attention, but you know it's him, looking kind of miserable. It's something that works well for me. I'm not really sure why, it just managed to work out with the main themes of the album. And then we have this weekend's listening list, which is in order: Hailstorm with the Thunderfist Chronicles, Hotline TNT with Raspberry Moon, James McMurtry with The Black Dog and the Wandering Boy, Malevolence with Where Only the Truth is Spoken, Mugshot with All the Devils Are Here, and Youngblood with Idols. Yeah, should be a fun week. And that'll be it for me. Next thing you'll see for probably maybe be a draft at some point of the weekend. I didn't get it done last weekend because I'm still in the process of remaking a bunch of wrestlers, but I've actually started remaking them physically. It just took me a while to get all the movesets down, but I'm getting there, and hopefully the return show will be next Friday. I'm hoping. I don't know. I've got like 8 days in a dream basically, and I still need like a couple more women, but I'm basically just going to be spending the entire weekend recreating a bunch of wrestlers. Oh boy. So, and there might be like a dragon stream on Saturday. I'm not sure. We'll see. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.